How's it going, YouTube? This is Badass Reviewer here, and I'm back with another review, this time of the DC Unlimited Darkseid from the new 52. Now, before I just start with this review, I just want to talk about the price of this thing and why it makes me angry. So, I got this on Big Bad Toy Store, and it runs $18.99 just for the figure. That's before shipping. Now this is part of, I believe, Wave 3? What wave is this? I don't even know. This is like either wave, actually I believe it's Wave 2. It's either 2 or 3, I'm not really for sure. That's not really important right now. But it didn't release with the Aquaman, which the Aquaman's supposed to be coming out pretty soon as well. So I'm not sure why they released this one before the Aquaman figure, or not, like why they didn't just ship them out together. Because when you buy something on Big Bad Toy Store, the shipping's gonna run you about between like $7 to $10, depending on what you're buying. This cost me $7.90 or $7.39, and that is my final cost for this figure. That is ridiculous. I cannot believe that they would charge you so much for a figure that is not worth $26. This is not even worth, I wouldn't even say it's worth $20. Well, maybe, I mean, I'll get to that in a sec, but it's not worth spending $30 for this figure. I mean, I'm pretty positive I paid a little bit more than $30, and it got me the Build-A-Figure Darkseid, which I think is just as good. I mean, on this figure, great sculpt on it. There's a lot of detail. It's really nice, and I think it's really good for the new 52 Darkseid. But the problem is, look at the size of him. He's not that tall. He's like a little bit shorter than the DC Superheroes Darkseid, which came out like some early 2000s. And this is what we get now. He's not big. I mean, you pair him up next to Superman here. Darkseid's supposed to be huge. He's barely, like, he's probably a foot and a half taller than Superman. Like in, you know, in person, not action figure size. I mean, there's hardly a height difference. I mean, maybe a head or two taller. Compared to this Darkseid, just gonna move him in. You got this Darkseid and this Superman, and Darkseid's way taller. The Build-A-Figure. Now this, the DC Unlimited figures are considerably shorter. For some reason they are scaled down, so they are not the same as your normal DC Universe Classics. But here's Superman next to the Build-A-Figure. He's still taller. That's a reasonable size. I would think maybe this Darkseid should be a little bit smaller, in my opinion, but still, the size compared to this guy and that guy, far different. So much different. I mean, you have got to be kidding me with this size. If he was a little bit taller and maybe a bit bulkier, I would understand, but $26 is not worth it. Let me go over the figure real fast, and I'll probably still continue to rant, but I am going to go over the figure. Now, don't get me wrong, I think this figure is awesome. I just literally got him out of the package, and I love it. But I don't love the fact that he's this small. And I don't like the fact that I spent $30 on it. Which means when they ship out my new 52 Aquaman, that's going to be another $30 almost. And I already know what that figure is going to be like. It's going to be a reused Aquaman body from DC Universe Classics with a new head sculpt and probably a new sculpted belt. That's it. That is not worth $30 to me. I don't understand why there's no DC figures that are out in stores or anything like that, because I've not seen them anywhere. I have like gone to so many different stores since the new DC and Batman Limited stuff came out, and I have seen none of it. So it really makes me not want to buy any more DC figures because they're just not in stores where I can get them for $18 and not have to pay $7 just to buy it. I mean, it's gonna run me about $20 or so, but I'd rather pay $20 than $30 for one figure that's not even like good size or anything. It's a good figure though, I will say that. Just not worth that much money. Let's look at the head sculpt real fast, because I think that's probably the best part about him. It's got a lot of good detail. He's got the nice red painted eyes. He's got all this like cracks in his head and stuff, like how he should in the comic books and all that. And they did some really nice detailing with it. They really did a good job shading in those lines, so it brings out more detail and you know, features in the face. And then he's got his pretty grungy looking face where he just looks really angry or something. But I mean, it's pretty good. They painted his head with this kind of like metallic gold looking thing for his helmet, which is really nice. I wouldn't, you know, I think it's pretty good. And with the blue lining around it, it's pretty good. We get down to his torso area. They got some sculpted on lines here with the same gold metallic paint job, which is nice. And then they got this more sculpting stuff going in the chest area here. And then he's got the little red gem thing that's in his chest for whatever reason that is. Because he wants to be a poser and be like Iron Man. But you know, it's nice shading. It's red. But it looks like it was probably black, but they added in some redness to it. So that looks nice. It's decent. His shoulder pads, I think, are really cool too, because there's a lot of sculpting going on here. They did put in some shading in spots, so it's a little bit darker than the rest of the blue on him, which is nice. It brings out more detail. He's got more painting, or I'm sorry, sculpting on the back with lines and cracks going through his thing. This area is just painted on. He's got gold linings going through here, which I don't know if it's just the way it looks, but it looks like it's not very even. Something's not even on this figure, and I'm not sure what it is. But it still looks good. It's the metallic gold still, so it looks fine. Not too much going on in his stomach area, because it's not really anything that would even need to be sculpted other than his abs. Let's go to his arms real fast, since that's still in the torso area. All sculpted with lines and stuff, but there's not really any shading to it, so it kind of sucks. But you know, at least they still sculpted it. They could have put a couple lines in there and called it good, but they kind of went a little extra and sculpted in all that. He's got some sculpting on his arms. I don't know how his forearms and stuff looks like in the comics, but they got some sculpting going on here. He's got an open palm, which is just open. It does nothing. He doesn't hold anything. He doesn't even come with an accessory, so that kind of sucks. So, but at least it's not like a gripping hand. It's more of like he would be using the force to pick something up, or you know, whatever Darkseid does with his dastardly deeds. This side is a sculpted fist, which is nice. Same detailing on this side. No real shading going on, but that's alright, I guess. But it would have been nice. We get down to his lower torso area. We got this nicely sculpted U, I guess is what you would want to call it. It's basically what it is. It's got the same kind of thing going on up here. It's like red, but it looks like they added some darkness to it. So that's really cool. I think it looks good. They got the gold going on here. It's got some sculpted in lines and all this good jazz. So more metallic paint. Did it throughout the belt, so at least it's consistent and not very, you know, unproportioned with paint and all that. Let's get down to his legs. His legs are probably the most bland part about him. It would have been nice if they sculpted on this thing, or whatever this is supposed to be, if it's even supposed to be. I feel like it should be, but it's not. But, yeah, his legs are pretty much the most bland part about him. There's not really anything big going on. And, his leg articulation is a bit hindered because of this skirt thing. So going outward is not going to be very good. And then, yeah, so he's got blue paint right here, as you can see. It's lightly shaded. Well, not lightly, but it is pretty dark compared to all this up here. So, yeah, that's what's going on. So, what Mattel's good at is making the figures look good. Like this Superman. This Superman is probably one of the best looking Supermans there is. Problem is, when I got this figure, he came like already loose at the torso. I'm pretty sure his legs are loose. Yeah, that's just a problem. Like, the quality control is sometimes a major factor, and I'm finding it more, and I found it more in the DC All-Stars than I have in anything else. Everything else has been fine up to this point, so that's a good thing. But, you know, I like this figure. I think it looks good. It just needs to be bigger. If it was a bit bigger, I probably wouldn't have as big of a problem with $26, but still, it's $30. The only time I ever exceed the price range of $30 on an action figure is if it's a pretty rare action figure. This is brand new, so the rarity of it has yet to be, you know, recognized and put into like some kind of thing where it's like, oh my god, this thing has to be $50 brand new. No, I wouldn't pay $50 for this if I waited 3 years to buy it. I would pay at minimum $20. That is a price range I'm fine with. I'm not okay spending $30 on brand new action figures that don't meet standards of their earlier predecessors. Look at this thing. I bought all the figures except for a couple like Darkseid and all that. Bought like some of the random parts, and I bought some of the other figures, and probably cost me around $30 to $35, I think. I'm not sure how much I paid, but I know I did not get it for an expensive price. This would be something better to invest in because I think it's got cooler looking detail going on. Well, I wouldn't say cooler because I think this has better sculpting than this one in terms of like in all the chest area, but this is how he looks in his classic uniform. And he came with the killing glove or whatever it's called, which was also nice because it was an extra addition to that figure. And he came with the boom tube controller. This comes with nothing. I don't even think he has the killing glove so far in the new comics, and he has no boom tube thing, which wouldn't matter because he can't hold it anyways. But yeah, I think this one would probably be a better investment. Unless you're a completist, I would suggest just maybe not picking this one up for right now. Or maybe if your store does sell them and like sell them, then I would just pick it up there. I would not go online. Or if you are going to go online, I would say maybe pick it up with some other stuff so shipping is not so much. So if you're going to spend a lot of money, you'll be spending less money on shipping, but you'll still be paying pretty much quite a bit of money. But buying this by itself and having it shipped out to where it's just the most ridiculous thing, like what I'm trying to say is I just don't like the shipping. I'm getting lost in words because I'm just a little frustrated because, you know, I spend a lot of money on action figures, but I try not to spend too much on one. This really irritates me. I hate spending more money than I need to, especially when it's on a website. If it's not eBay and it's not something like super rare, I don't like paying more for it. So basically, I'm mad because I spent $30 on this figure, which I don't like. Figure-wise, amazing. I think it's good, other than the fact that he's too small. That's also what irritates me, because he's just not big enough for me to think that he should be worth so much money. And it's really not Mattel's fault. It's like the people that you buy it from online, because they have to make it so much. Honestly, I don't think they could have probably sent this to me for at least $5. That would have been, you know, a decent price, because the box for the action figure itself is not very big, and it's one figure. They could easily put it in a smaller box, but they didn't. So, you know, they're really screwing you over with the price of shipping and all that. So you gotta watch out for that. I think if you're gonna do it on Big Bad Toy Store, I would go with the pile of loot thing. If you don't necessarily need to get this right away, put it in your pile of loot, wait until you buy some more stuff, or wait until other pre-orders are ready to ship. Ship it all at once, and your shipping will be lower, because they don't charge you until they actually ship the thing out. So I wasn't charged for this figure until it was ready to be shipped. So when you're ready to ship it, that's when they'll charge you. And the best time to charge is when you have more, because the shipping will be down, but you're still going to be paying high amount depending on everything that you're buying. But that's just my opinion. If you guys have your own way of doing things, you do that. But that's just my opinion. Now, I know this is a really long video, and I haven't even gone over articulation yet, so let's do that, and then we can go on with our lives. Maybe. Just kidding. Alright, so, on Darkseid's head, he can go down a little bit, up a little bit, barely, but it does move up and down. Rotates 360 degrees. There we go. His arms can go out, and his shoulder pads do get in the way, but they're like on like a peg, I would guess. It's on a peg that's probably glued on. So I would be careful, because I feel like this could easily just be ripped off, and I'm sure it will if you're not careful, or if something happens to it. So watch out, because that's going to be a problem. So his arms can go out and in, they can rotate 360 degrees, but the shoulder pads obviously get in the way. He's got a forearm swivel, but it doesn't really swivel too much because his biceps are so huge that they kind of get in the way, but he has a bicep swivel. Rotates at the elbow here, rotates at the hand. He's got an ab crunch, which goes back pretty far, goes back kind of minimal, but it's good enough for me. He rotates at the waist. I just noticed this, but this part right here goes up above the waistline. So if you turn this 360 degrees, this will be bent forward. And mine's not bent, but it will be pushed forward. So I would suggest you probably just don't move him all that much at the waist. His legs are similar to the Batman Return, or the Dark Knight Returns Batman, how on the Masters of the Universe legs, or Marvel Legends for instance, have ball jointed legs with the swivel at the top of them. That's what's going on here. You can't see it because the skirt hides it, which is really nice, because it's just kind of like a soft plastic right here. So it really hides the joint really good. The problem with the skirt is, and just like the old Darkseid, is that his legs are very limited because the skirt gets in the way. But his excuse me, his legs can go forward, they can go back, they can go out, and they can go back in. He rotates at the upper part of the thigh where the ball joint is. And I'm not even sure if it's a ball joint, guys. Yeah, it's a ball hinge, so pretty much like a Marvel Legends, but probably not as fancy. So he rotates there. He bends at one point at the knee, and he bends at the foot. And then he has an ankle pivot or swivel, whatever you call it, but it's not very much, but it is there. It's not like a completely molded piece. So articulation is pretty standard, being Mattel and all that. Really guys, my biggest problem is the size and the price of this figure. I would have been fine paying $20, but that's just not the case when you have to buy online. I don't know why they're not showing up in stores. I don't know why anything's not showing up in stores. Marvel Legends, the new DC stuff, anything. I mean, the only thing I see that's Marvel Legend related usually is Wave 2 of Marvel Legends and the Iron Man Legends. So I don't know what's going on. It's kind of irritating. Here he is next to the DC Universe Classics Superman, and you know, since he's you know, the average 6-inch scale, and I'm assuming this Darkseid has been scaled down for the, you know, same reason these other ones have been scaled down, for whatever reason. I don't know why, they just have. But here he is. You can see there's a significant size difference. He's pretty close to being as tall. He's barely as tall as the new 52 Superman, and he's just supposed to be a big character. Like, I'm pretty sure he like towers over these guys, and he's barely taller than Superman, which is pretty ridiculous. So my final verdict is, if you're not a completist and you don't like the new 52 and you don't want to pay high dollar amounts for action figures, especially when you're just buying this guy, I would pass. The sculpting's nice on it. It looks really good. It's just not the best. It could have been better. It should have been a lot bigger. His arms, his entire torso, his legs, his height should have all been a lot bigger, and it's not. And yeah, he should have at least came with some kind of accessory. I don't really know what it would have been, but you know, something would have been nice than nothing. So overall, sculpting, I would give it a 10. Size, I would give it a 2. I don't even know why I'm individually rating this thing. I'm just kind of irritated, but you know, you just gotta, it's whatever you prefer. I'm just letting you guys know that you should just hold off buying this unless it's in your stores, or if you're buying in bulk. Buying in bulk will just help out so much more. Anyways, overall, I think it's a pass unless you're a completist, or if you like the new Darkseid, or you think that this review was somewhat helpful and maybe like you thinking, oh well, it's not too bad or whatever. It's whatever. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't. I'm just recommending you should maybe just hold off on it. Invest in getting this one. It's so much cheaper, and really, I mean, it's really not even a big deal. I don't even know what to say anymore, guys. I'm kind of just rambling on now. So if you like my review, please like it, comment your opinions and whatever you guys think. Share it amongst your friends. Talk about it with me on Facebook if you want to. Watch my other videos that I've got. That would be awesome. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys later then.